Aloha, friends and listeners. This is your host, J.D. Rivera, along with our guide, Lydia Suzuki, welcoming you to All Around America. Today, we are in paradise. That's right. I said paradise, for that's what Hawaii is. Heavenly islands with lush vegetation, perfumed flowers, wide sandy beaches, huge volcanoes, fantastic waterfalls, the great blue Pacific Ocean, and of course, perfect weather all year long. Lydia, I think I want to live here. Let's trade places.
I don't think I'll take you up on that, J.D., but I'm not surprised at your reaction to our state. Hawaii does attract millions of people every year, but lucky for us Hawaiians, they don't all settle down. They're tourists and very important to the economy of our island.
So tell me a little about the people who do live here on the islands.
Well, about 1/8 of our population are the native Hawaiians, or Polynesians, the original people. The rest are a mixture of Asian and white people. We are the only state that does not have an ethnic majority.
Very interesting. So, Lydia, the Polynesians were the first people here.
Yes, they came from the Marquesas Islands, 2,000 miles away, about 1,500 years ago. The islands were pretty isolated until 1778, when James Cook, the famous English explorer, discovered them. He named them the Sandwich Islands and came back in 1779. Unfortunately, he was killed in a fight with the native Hawaiians.
What happened after the discovery?
Well, that pretty much opened the door for others to come. And before you knew it, whalers, traders, missionaries, and greedy businessmen began pouring in. Everybody wanted a piece of Hawaii.
Well, I can see why. Now, let's take our first call. St. Paul, Minnesota. Go ahead.
Thanks for taking my call. I've been to Hawaii, and I saw a statue of King Kamehameha I on Oahu, and there are many places named after him. Who was he, and what did he do?
You're in luck, because we were able to get King Kamehameha to be with us. Your Majesty, can you take this caller's question?
Aloha. Let me say, before I became king, the islands were divided and ruled by local chiefs who were constantly at war. I defeated the chiefs, and in 1795, united the islands and founded the Kingdom of Hawaii.
I want to add that the people loved King Kamehameha I. He brought peace to the islands.
I think that there were several kings named Kamehameha. Am I right?
That's correct. I was the first, and my son was the second. Eventually, there were 5 Kamehamehas. The dynasty lasted until 1872, when Kamehameha V died without leaving an heir to the throne.
And I've heard that missionaries did plenty of damage to Hawaiian culture when they came. They tried to wipe out their customs and traditions, didn't they?
Reverend Bingham, do you want to defend yourself? You were among the first missionaries who came to the islands, beginning in the 1820s.
That's right, I was. We were shocked by the nakedness of the people and the hula dances they performed. So we introduced long dresses for the women and banned hula dancing. However, we also built churches and schools and taught the natives how to read and write.
All this happened after my time, and it began a long series of changes, perhaps for the good, perhaps not.
But change was inevitable.
Probably. But I wonder if the changes improved our lives.
Gentlemen, thank you for being on our show. Right now, we have another caller. Salt Lake, are you there?
Here, dude. I've been to the islands many times. I go for surfing. Man, those 25-foot waves are really something. I think Hawaii has got some of the best surfing in the world.
I couldn't agree more. Barely a day goes by that I don't try to get out and catch a wave.
Cool. Next time I come, let's get together. But anyway, I wanted to ask about something serious. I mean, the Hawaiian people were robbed by the U.S. Didn't we basically steal Hawaii? What's the scoop on this?
Let's see if we can find out. We have Queen Liliuokalani who can speak about this. Welcome to the show, Your Majesty.
Aloha, and thank you for inviting me. Yes, I would be happy to answer these questions. When I came to the throne, that was in 1891, powerful American businessmen had a strong foothold in Hawaii. They were coming in, buying land, taking over, and making a fortune in sugarcane and pineapples, our principal crops.
So, what happened?
I wanted to make sure that they did not take over completely. So we rewrote the Constitution, putting more Hawaiians in important jobs in the government. Also, we brought back some of our old customs and traditions. We thought that was important.
Your reign didn't last very long, did it?
Sadly, no. 2 years later, my monarchy was overthrown, and I was imprisoned. These businessmen made Sanford Bidol president of the Republic of Hawaii, and the monarchy ended. Shortly after, the U.S. annexed Hawaii, and finally, in 1959, it became the 50th state.
I'd like to add that in 1998, President Clinton signed a formal apology to the Hawaiian people for the overthrow of the monarchy.
Better late than never, I guess. Thanks for the history lesson. I thought I was right.
Thanks for your call, Salt Lake. So, Lydia, now that we've covered some of Hawaii's history, we have an email from San Diego, California, that asks, how many islands are there? So, tell us a little more about the islands.
Well, as you may know, we have 8 main islands. We're on Maui, the Garden Island, known for its lush beauty. Oahu is quite metropolitan with theaters, museums, and great restaurants in Honolulu. The USS Arizona National Memorial at Pearl Harbor is on Oahu too. But if you really want to see something different, go to the Big Island, Hawaii. It has black, sandy beaches and active volcanoes.
You're kidding. Black beaches? Active volcanoes?
Black as coal. And you can actually see the bubbling lava in the volcanoes. As a matter of fact, all our islands were formed from volcanoes, which erupted from under the sea.
We're running out of time, Lydia, so unfortunately we'll have to come here again. I think we need to explore each island one at a time.
That's the only way to do it, J.D.
For now, we have to say, ahui ho aku, goodbye, until we meet again. From the Aloha State, this is J.D. Rivera. Join us again for our next program when we go back to the mainland and the city of San Francisco. But we have a few more minutes for our listeners to call in with their questions and comments. Good morning, folks, and welcome to the Time Travelers Talk Show that takes you to spectacular places all around America. Well, here we are, standing on one of the largest and most beautiful bridges in the world, the Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco. Before we go on, let me introduce our guide, Lee Wong. Welcome, Lee. Is this an incredible sight or what?
Absolutely spectacular. There's the bay on our right and the Pacific Ocean on our left. This bridge crosses the entrance to the bay. And over there is the city of San Francisco, the city by the bay, as it is called.
But Lee, I'm surprised. The bridge is orange. I thought it would be gold in color. How did that come about?
Actually, the architect, Irving F. Morrow, decided that the color orange would blend in better with the natural setting of this beautiful harbor. I understand Mr. Morrow is with us today. Is that right?
Right here, Lee. Actually, the real color is known as International Orange, and I chose it for the reason you suggest. As you can see, it blends in wonderfully with the natural surroundings.
Okay, folks, we've got lots of callers, so let's get to the phones. First caller from Atlanta, Georgia. What's your question?
Hi, y'all. What I want to know is why is it called the Golden Gate if it's not gold?
I think I can answer that. It's named after the Golden Strait, the narrow waterway that the bridge crosses. It seems that John C. Fremont, a surveyor in California, came upon it, and as the story goes, it reminded him of the Golden Horn in Istanbul, so he named it the Golden Strait. That was in 1846.
Oh, I get it. So when the bridge was built, they named it the Golden Gate Bridge after the Golden Strait. Makes sense to me.
Thanks, Atlanta, for bringing that up. Now I think we've cleared up the question of the orange Golden Gate. Let's take another call. Helena, Montana, you're on All Around America.
Thanks for taking my call. I've been to San Francisco, and I just want to say that the bridge is incredible. Who built it?
You're in luck. We have with us Joseph B. Strauss, Chief Engineer of the Golden Gate. Mr. Strauss, are you there?
Yes, I am. I submitted the original plans for the bridge. Of course, we changed our minds and redesigned the original plans, and we came up with the idea of a suspension bridge. It was a real challenge because of the length of the bridge. It's over a mile long, and the currents underneath are treacherous.
Can you explain how a suspension bridge works?
Well, it's simple in theory. We have two huge towers, 746 feet above water to be exact, on either side of the bridge. These two towers hold up two steel cables, about 36 inches in diameter. Then there are lots of vertical cables that hold up the roadway. That's it in a nutshell.
The construction must have been difficult. Was anyone hurt or killed during construction?
Believe it or not, nobody was seriously injured or killed. For one thing, we had introduced hard hats for the men to wear. Actually, 19 workers fell off the bridge, but we had safety nets under the bridge.
Really? That's amazing. How long did it take to build the bridge?
Only 4 years, from 1933 to 1937. It opened ahead of schedule and under budget. That's something that doesn't happen very often.
You can say that again. And now we have a call from Topeka, Kansas. What's your question?
I've been to San Francisco and have seen the Golden Gate. It is majestic, beautiful, and inspiring. I can't think up enough adjectives to describe it. I'm studying architecture, and I'd like to know more about the artistic design of the bridge.
Mr. Morrow, want to take that question? As the architect, you worked on the design, didn't you?
Actually, my wife and I did. First of all, I want to tell you I felt very privileged to be working on it. I knew the bridge was going to be a unique structure, so I did whatever I could to give it a feeling of grandeur and dignity.
So how did you accomplish that?
Well, first, I wanted to use the sun's light to accentuate the bridge. So we designed the towers in a special way to catch the sunlight. Also, you'll notice that the portals or openings on the towers are smaller and smaller as they go higher and higher. This gives the effect of the bridge going off into space. Oh, it's an incredible illusion.
That's true. It does look as if it goes off into space.
And if you come at night, you'll notice the subtle lighting that we designed. It gives the bridge a special glow.
We'll be sure to do that, too. Thanks for being on our show, Mr. Morrow. I can't tell you how inspired I am just being here. I'm going to stick around a while and take it all in. As a matter of fact, I think I'll join the other pedestrians and joggers crossing the bridge. What do you say, Lee? Shall we jog across?
Thanks, J.D., but I've got to get back to work.
Before you go, Lee, tell me about that island I see out in the middle of the bay.
That's Alcatraz, the infamous prison. It was the island home for many of the nation's worst criminals until it closed in 1973.
Not really an island paradise like Hawaii, then.
You can say that again, but it is worth an afternoon visit. It's now open to the public and it has a fascinating history. Anyway, before you leave our beautiful city, don't forget to see some of San Francisco's other famous places. We've got lots to offer, like Chinatown, Fisherman's Wharf, and a ride on our famous cable cars. And not far from this spot are the giant redwood trees of Muir Woods.
Thanks, Lee. Will do. For now, we have to say goodbye.
So long, J.D. It was nice to meet you, and a real pleasure to introduce you to our great bridge and city.
Thanks, Lee. And thank you, listeners, callers, and guests, for another wonderful stop at one of the most spectacular places all around America, the Golden Gate Bridge. Please join us for our next show when we travel from this man-made wonder to an incredible natural wonder, the Grand Canyon. Now let's give our listeners a few more minutes to call in. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning, and welcome to All Around America. Folks, I don't think I can adequately describe the area we are in today. It is just too awesome for words. We are talking about the Grand Canyon in the state of Arizona, a place like no other on earth. Right, Kit?
Right. This canyon is enormous. 227 miles long, 1 mile deep, and 18 miles across. Huge doesn't begin to describe it.
Before I get too far ahead of myself, let me introduce our guide, Kit Wilkins. Welcome to the show.
My pleasure. And you're right. You just can't put into words the beauty, grandeur, and size of this place.
I just want to say to our listeners, save your money and get yourself out here. You will not be disappointed. But for now, let's get to the phones. Madison, Wisconsin, you're on the air.
Thanks for taking my call. I certainly agree that it's one of the grandest places on Earth. I took my family there last summer. I couldn't believe the size. But what really got me were the changing colors of the canyon. Red, orange, purple, yellow. Different colors at different times of the day. It's quite a show. But what I want to ask is, did any Indians live here at one time or another?
Yes, they did. The Anasazi, the Pueblo, the Hopi, the Paiutes all lived here. And of course, even today, the Havasupai Indians have a small reservation located along the Havasu Creek at the bottom of the canyon.
I love sports. And when I was at the canyon last year, I heard about whitewater rafting on the Colorado River. Can you tell me a little about this?
Now you're talking. It's my favorite sport. The Colorado offers some of the best in whitewater rafting. It's really fast and exciting.
Speaking of which, let me introduce the very first man who in 1869 explored the Colorado River and literally put the Grand Canyon on the map. Major John Wesley Powell, welcome to the show, and tell us how you first became interested in the Grand Canyon.
Thank you, and glad to be here. Well, as a professor of geology, I'd always been interested in the natural world. So after the Civil War, where incidentally I lost my arm, I wanted to explore a part of our nation that had never been explored or mapped. This area was called the unknown. The idea of doing something no one else had ever attempted really caught my imagination. So I got together a crew of 9 men and we set off for the unknown.
Next call, Jackson, Mississippi. What's your question?
Hello, J.D. As you know, our state has a pretty big river, and I'd like to know more about the Colorado. Mr. Powell, I've read about your trip down the Colorado. It was both a triumph and a tragedy, wasn't it?
Yes, that's quite right. After 98 harrowing days on the river, we finally reached the river's end. We were half dead with exhaustion. Tragically, though, we lost 3 men.
How did that happen?
Well, as I said, it was a very harrowing trip. Almost nothing went right. The wooden boats were too heavy. The river was much more ferocious than we had ever expected, and the waterfalls were huge. And we were running out of food. It was almost more than we could bear. Everyone's nerves were on edge. So when we came to yet another monster fall, 3 of our men dropped out of the expedition. They decided to take their chances by trying to find their way out of the canyon rather than possibly drowning in the rapids.
And?
They were never heard from again.
What a grim story.
We barely survived as well. The waterfalls, some as high as Niagara, almost did us in. Since the river had never been charted, we had no idea what awaited us around each bend. It was the most difficult venture of my life.
Your listeners might want to know that Mr. Powell was hailed as the conqueror of the Colorado when he returned. It was an incredible feat. Compared to that expedition, today's rafting down the Colorado is a walk in the park, with modern boats, maps, and all.
And speaking of a walk in the park, tourists can hike the canyon, can't they, Kit?
Oh, yes, and many do. But every year we have to call up rescue to bring in a helicopter for someone who's lost or injured. It's a treacherous climb down to the bottom. You're better off riding a mule down.
Good suggestion. But let's get back to the canyon itself. Did early American settlers come to see the canyon as people do today?
Oh, yes. Thanks to Mr. Powell, people realized that the canyon was not inaccessible. But they came for a different reason. Prospectors hoped to strike it rich. They were sure they could find gold there. However, they found no gold. Instead, they found other valuable minerals, such as copper and asbestos.
Let's take our last call from Lincoln, Nebraska. Like Madison and Jackson, another city named for a president.
And I'd like to speak with a president, namely President Theodore Roosevelt. Is he there?
I believe he is on the line. Mr. Roosevelt?
Yes, I am delighted to be with you. What's your question, Lincoln?
Mr. Roosevelt, I just want to thank you for all your efforts in establishing and preserving national parks while you were president.
Why, thank you. I am proud to be known as the conservation president. I thought it was very important that places like the Grand Canyon be preserved for our children and for our children's children. I insisted that Congress protect our natural resources.
So when did Congress actually establish Grand Canyon National Park?
It didn't happen while I was president. However, I fought very hard for it, and I did get it protected as a national monument in 1908. 11 years later, Congress made it a national park.
We'd like to add our thanks too, Mr. President. But for now, we have to say goodbye to the Grand Canyon, our guests, and our listeners. Please join us next week in Colorado, where the great river comes from. We'll visit another national park, Mesa Verde, a national park that was established during Theodore Roosevelt's presidency. There's time now for a few more calls. The lines are open. Welcome to All Around America, the amazing radio talk show that takes you to famous landmarks in America. And where are we today? I'll let our guide, National Park Ranger Jesse Jones, tell us. Jesse, what is this place anyway? I've never seen anything like it.
Well, we are at Mesa Verde National Park in the beautiful mountainous state of Colorado.
Jesse, can you tell our listeners what Mesa Verde means?
In Spanish, mesa means table, and verde means green, so it's a green table. In other words, it's a high plateau that has vegetation, grass and trees. And specifically, we are standing in an ancient village that is built on a shelf on the side of a cliff. This was the home of the ancient Indian group called the Anasazi. This one is called the Cliff Palace.
Wow, it's hard to believe that people actually lived here on a shelf in the side of a cliff. How high are we anyway?
We're pretty high up, about 700 feet off the ground.
I know our callers have lots of questions, so let's take caller number 1 from an appropriate city and state, Indianapolis, Indiana. Are you there, Indianapolis? Who do you want to talk to?
I'd like to talk to a member of the Anasazi tribe, if I may.
We have a young woman here who can talk to our caller.
Great. Who is she?
My name is Running Deer. I'm an Anasazi. What would the caller like to ask?
My question is, why would anybody want to live on a cliff? It seems so unusual, so dangerous.
My parents never really told me why we built our homes here. We just took it for granted. It just seemed natural for us to live in this place. My guess is that it was for protection. We used ladders to get up and down the cliff. If an enemy approached, we would pull up the ladders. It's pretty hard for the enemy to attack up the side of a cliff.
How long did you live there?
In these cliff dwellings, only about 200 years, but we lived on Mesa Verde, the tabletop, for a long time. We are a very old culture. Other tribes called us the Ancient Ones. Our ancestors lived and worked on top of the mesa for over 1,000 years.
So where are the Anasazi today?
I think I can answer that. There are no Anasazi living today. I am Swift Arrow, a descendant of the Anasazi. In 1300, something very strange happened. The Anasazi moved away and abandoned Mesa Verde permanently and came south to live in what is now New Mexico and Arizona.
That's right. Around that time we had a terrible drought. It went on 24 years, so I believe we left because we had no choice. We had to find food. I was just a little girl when it all happened.
We also think that the soil was depleted, so it became impossible to grow food. All that remains today are these incredible Anasazi structures. Just think, all this happened about 300 years before Europeans began to live in North America.
That's really interesting. Next question comes from Louisville, Kentucky. Go ahead, Louisville.
Hello, JD. I wonder if Jesse Jones can give us an idea of how many people lived on the mesa at one time. And, by the way, wasn't that a dangerous place for kids? Didn't they fall off the cliff?
As far as we know, at one time, 1,000 people lived here. They had a thriving community and even their own government. As a matter of fact, an important part of the Anasazi community was known as the Kiva, a very large council room where we are standing right now.
May I add something here?
Of course, Running Deer, anytime.
My father used to go there with the other men to talk over and decide important community matters. And I remember going there for religious ceremonies. It was a very special place.
Anyone want to take the question about falling off the cliff?
I'll take that. Simply put, they were careful. Like all parents, they watched their children closely. And anyway, they spent most of their time on top of the mesa, in their fields. They were food growers and gatherers. And The Anasazi parents and children were together most of the day, working the land or in our dwellings making pottery. Right, Running Deer?
Absolutely. I spent almost all of my time with my mother, making baskets and pottery and preparing food. She taught me everything. I looked up to her.
I think most Native American people looked up to their elders. Older people were very valuable members of the community.
Things are a little different nowadays. I also wanted to ask if archaeologists have dug up many artifacts.
Oh, yes, they have. Mostly they found beautiful pottery and evidence of beautiful handcrafted baskets. In fact, the early Anasazi were known as the Basket People.
I just want to say that even today, the descendants of the Anasazi, the Pueblo, carry on these traditions.
Swift Arrow, we have an email from Philadelphia with a question. Where do the descendants of the Anasazi live today?
We are the Hopi of northeastern Arizona, the Zuni of western New Mexico, and we Taos here in northern New Mexico. I would like to invite you all to my pueblo in Taos, New Mexico, so that you can see for yourself a little of life long ago. We are very proud of our heritage.
Well, for me, it's been an awesome experience just walking in the footsteps of an ancient people. Callers, thank you so much for your questions, and guests, thank you for a most interesting journey back in time at Mesa Verde National Park. Swift Arrow, we'll definitely see you at your pueblo in Taos on our way to next week's program in San Antonio, Texas. And now the phones are open for a few more calls.